Hello, welcome to Locked on Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. And on today's episode, we're going to discuss how the Sharks are going for their third win in a row and why this game against Vegas is kind of a big game for maybe the Sharks' future and what we think of this team. Going to talk about Radim Simek going on to IR and the corresponding moves with that, plus predictions of how I think tonight's game is going to go. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked on Sharks.
You're Locked on Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, contributor at Fear the Fin, San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making Locked on Sharks your first listen. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch this on YouTube as well. And tonight, the Sharks' big game against the Vegas Golden Knights. Sharks' 2-game win streak so far, trying to finish up this road trip against Vegas. If you get 3 in a row here, and especially against some pretty high-quality teams, I think that this game could kind of be a little bit of a statement game for the Sharks of what we think about them. So, you look back at this road trip. They lose to the Blues. It was a pretty close game, but the Blues kind of took control at the end. You get into a shootout with the Stars, and you win that game, even though you score 5 goals and 18 shots, but you still get the win, right? And then you had a really good comeback against Minnesota, especially in a game where the Wilds, kind of shut down the Sharks, especially for the first 2 periods. And the Sharks were able to kind of scrap back into it and get some scoring behind some secondary guys. And then all of a sudden you have a 2-game winning streak here. But playing Vegas is going to be a much, much different beast than the last 2 teams. I know Dallas probably going to be in the playoffs. Minnesota is most likely going to be in the playoffs. And both these guys are kind of dark horse teams to win the Stanley Cup. But Vegas right now is one of the best teams in the NHL to start the season. And a lot of it has to do with the return of Jack Eichel and him being fully healthy and kind of carrying the load for this team and a legitimate top line that's one of the best in the NHL. So, I we'll get into this a little bit more, but again, this is a really, really big game for the Sharks if they want to kind of change the narrative of what we think of this team. So let's go ahead and start with the injury news. Of course, Radim Simek being placed on IR, so he's going to be out for a couple games here. Took a nasty headshot in the Wild game. Of course, no penalty and no a fine or anything like that. So NHL player safety, you guys keep doing your thing. So whatever that is. So Sharks bring up Nick Cicek. Cicek, who last year was on AHL deal, earned his NHL contract this year, went with the team to Prague, but has yet to make his NHL debut. So we will see if he draws in. I assume it'll probably be Scott Harrington drawing in for Simek, but you never know. I mean, I think, though, with Cicek, it would be – I think he's earned his chance to at least get to play. He's a solid dude. He's come in. He's going to play kind of the Jake Middleton style role of being a good defensive defenseman. Don't expect much in the way of offense from him, but and he's going to be a responsible defenseman. So left-handed shot. So again, somebody's going to have to be playing on their offside between if it's Vlasic and either if it's Vlasic and Cicek, somebody's going to have to be playing off their offside there. But, I think Cicek's earned his chance. And if he doesn't play on Tuesday, I expect him to play by this weekend just because I think you want to see what you have with him at some point, right? So hopefully we see Cicek at some point. So don't expect much. I would not expect much in the lines. So again, it's a reminder of how the Sharks lined up on Sunday. Meyer, Hurdle, LeBanc. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Nieto, Couture, Barabanov, kind of the same thing. My thoughts on Nieto on the second line, but again, it's not like anybody else has claimed the mantle there. And Barabanov, Couture, you can really see the kind of resurgence of Couture since Barabanov has been put on his wings. So Benito Sturm, Cunnin, if there's any changes, that would be the place I would look. But again, the Sharks are on a 2-game win streak, so I don't expect much for changes. Lindblom, Lawrence, and Svechnikov on your fourth line. Magna, Carlson, Ferraro, Benning, and then Vlasic / Harrington or Cicek. And then I would expect James Reimer to start. He's basically won the starting job. James Reimer crushing any young goaltender just by being better than them. So he's the best goalie the Sharks have right now, and they're going to keep riding him until he turns into dust or they trade him or both. So, that's kind of how the Sharks lined up right now. Don't expect much for changes. Again, you're on a 2-game win streak. So in terms of Vegas, the way they lined up last time, Chandler Stevenson, Jack Eichel, Mark Stone. That's a really good first line. Jack Eichel, absolute heater. I think he had 4 goals and like 3 assists last week. So in his last 5 games, at least, he's absolute heater. He was one of the 3 stars of the NHL last week. Jack Eichel is back. Jonathan Marchessault, William Karlsson, Riley Smith, Paul Cutter. I don't know if it's Cutter or Cotier. I don't know. Brett Howden, Phil Kessel, William Carrier, Nicholas Roy, and Keegan Colasar rounds out the fourth line. Alec Martinez, Alex Pietrangelo, Brady McNabb, Shea Theodore, Nicholas Haig, and Zach Whitecloud. Solid defensively. And then you have old friend Aiden Hill and Logan Thompson. Aiden Hill played when they lost. They actually lost to the Blues this weekend. So Blues are kind of turning things down a little bit. But so I would expect Logan Thompson in net tonight, especially for, he's Logan Thompson is an outstanding young goalie. And this goaltending tandem has been one of the best in the NHL. I have no idea how they're doing it, but actually, I know a little bit of how they're doing it. They're blocking the shots. But this goaltending, they've done exactly what you've asked, and they have a lot of good players in front of them. So, yes, we'll get into kind of the matchups and how these teams look against each other. But it's going to be a big game for the Sharks, and, you're going to have to beat this young goalie and neutralize that top line of Eichel and Stone. So in Stevenson. But before we continue, today's episode is brought to you guys by BetOnline. If you guys don't know by now, BetOnline is the #1 source for your betting information, stats, news, and analysis. You get all the latest odds and trends for every professional amateur league out there. So if you want to bet on basketball, now you have NBA, you have NCAA, they got you covered there. You want to do like international stuff, they have SHL. You go bet on Swedish Hockey League. They have hockey, of course, football, basketball, anything that you want. They've got you covered at BetOnline. If you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. They're the fastest and easiest way to get all your betting fixed. So head to their website today and use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. And when you guys are done checking out this episode of Locked On Sharks, thanks again for making us your first listen today. For your second listen, go check the Locked On Sports Today podcast. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. Okay, so the Sharks, big game tonight. Again, if we want to kind of change the narrative of what we think about this team, a win against the Golden Knights would really, really go a long way in doing that. So, I think, again, you won kind of a shootout, weird, fluky game against the Stars, especially with Ottinger coming back from his injury. You could tell he wasn't just to have his fastball back, right? He played much better in his next game for Dallas over the weekend. Minnesota, that's a really good team. I know they're still kind of finding their footing in here, but they have a lot of talent, and I expect them to kind of be there at the end of the season. But again, you came back from a 2-goal deficit in the third, and you came back and you won that game in a shootout. Big there. But Vegas is another beast. And for this preview, what I did is Jay Fresh, he has these kind of team by team card. Like we can actually look at the matchups and see kind of how these teams match up against each other. So if you're on YouTube, I'm going to pull this up right now. And let me start with the first slide here. So kind of see where these teams rank, especially when it comes to like their 5-on-5 goals, their Corsi, their finishing, all that stuff. And you can, if you're on YouTube, you can see Vegas pretty good at a lot of stuff. They're ranked in the blue or ranked like in the top 10 in most things, right? So if you look at their 5-on-5 goals for Vegas is ranked 6th in the league. Sharks are ranked 21st. 5-on-5 expected goals, Vegas ranked 3rd. Sharks ranked 19th. So Vegas is actually doing a better job at producing expected goals, just not finishing as many goals as they would expect it to have. Corsi 4, 5-on-5. Vegas is 9th. The Sharks are 23rd. So Vegas, good job of driving shots. Power play goals. Vegas is 10th. Sharks are 18th. Again, I think though that we have to look at the Sharks power play kind of divided over kind of the first 3 weeks or so compared to the last couple weeks. And the Sharks power play now looks way better than it did before. And I think that's just guys getting used to David Quinn's system. And I think Quinn has a really, really good power play system. And you can see that, like, when we get some time, I want to kind of break down their power play more and look at why it's so effective. But, power play, though, in the favor of Golden Knights. Finishing, Sharks are 25th. Vegas is 8th for finishing. 5-on-5 goals against, so kind of defensively, right? Vegas, good job at they're 5th in the league and the fewest amount of goals against, and the Sharks are 29th in the goals against. 5-on-5 expected goals, Vegas is 9th, Sharks are 20th. Corsi, so here, kind of a little bit more even. Vegas is 19th in Corsi, while the Sharks are 22nd in Corsi again. So Vegas is doing a good job of they're not doing a good job of giving up shots, but what they're doing, though, is doing a good job of blocking those shots and making it life easy for their goaltenders. So PK goals against second. So the Sharks PK, they have the clear advantage. That's the one unit where you can point to be like Sharks have the clear advantage as their PK unit, especially when Reimer's in net. He does help kind of cover any mistakes for the PK. But and then goaltending, Sharks are 20th and Vegas is 9th. So if you want to look at more of their offense and kind of where these break down, so you can see there's a lot of Vegas and a lot of stars for them. So Vegas, what they're doing, they're not getting like as many shots as they used to on net. That used to be their kind of thing, was they're just going to shoot and shoot. But the shots that they get right now are really, really high quality shots. If you look at their like at all the teams at 5-on-5, high danger chances for, Vegas is 3rd in the NHL, 57% high danger chances for. Sharks, though, not too bad. They're at 53%, so kind of more middle of the pack. But Vegas, they're not getting as many shots, but the shots they get are high quality shots. You look at the expected goals for, Vegas is at 55.9% of the expected goals, right? So out of 100%, they're getting 55, so they have the majority. That's good for 4th in the NHL. The Sharks are 50%, so they're kind of, again, middle of the pack there at 5-on-5. So again, that's a testament to the Sharks. Their improved 5-on-5 play over the last couple of weeks. They're kind of starting to climb these rankings a little bit here. So, and then, and then the shooting percentage. So actually, Vegas's shooting percentage is a little lower. So they're at 8% right now, 8.78. The Sharks are at 8.27. So it's not like Vegas is just kind of shooting the lights out right now. For example, the Dallas Stars, though, best team in the league at the shooting percentage, is almost 11%. And then the Wild at 6%. So the Wild are getting just unlucky. So that's why I expect the Wild to kind of be there at the end, just because I don't think they're going to shoot at 6% the entire season. So they're not going to Noah Gregor, this bad boy. But you can see with what Vegas is doing and how they're doing it is high quality shots, and they're trying to make the most of them. So they're not just going to shoot. They're going to try to shoot at the best, most prime opportunities. So they're going to give up shots, but they try to keep those outside, or they try to block them to make their life for the goaltender. So that's going to be a big thing is, can the Sharks be a little bit patient and not just shoot when you have an opportunity, but try to shoot when you have a better opportunity? Make that extra pass to try to get a good quality shot instead of just shooting when you have an opening where it might be blocked or it might turn the other way type of situation. So defensively and goaltending, again, yikes for the Sharks here. Their goals allowed. We've seen the Sharks are starting to kind of climb out of this hole of where they were at the beginning of the season. We're seeing some of these numbers improve defensively, but again, the PK is going to be the kind of the saving grace for the Sharks again, where that is their best unit. If you look at both teams' forwards, you look at both teams' defenses, you look at 5-on-5, you look at power play, and you look at penalty kill. The Sharks' penalty kill that's their one unit that they can kind of point to and say, yes, we have an advantage there. You see, you got the little happy guy here, one little happy Shark. So we kind of have to see the same formula for the Sharks of being able to hang around at 5-on-5 and then try to win the special teams battle. And that's been kind of their recipe for success the last couple of weeks. So I know they've lost a lot of shootout games recently, but somebody makes a shootout when, if somebody makes a goal or makes a shot in the shootout, you're having a different conversation about the Sharks. But anyway, so again, this is going to be a big test for the Sharks, especially when it comes to 5-on-5. You have to be disciplined, and you cannot let Vegas hem you in your own zone. You need to make smart passes because, again, if you look at the way that they play, Vegas is really good at driving play and making it tough for their opponents because they have the puck the entire time. And so if the Sharks are going to live that way, they need to take advantage of anytime you can get that counter punch. You need to take advantage of those breakaways or rush opportunities, and that is how you're going to have to try to win this game and just hang in there. Hope that James Reimer can continue to hang in there for you and make it a close game and then win the special teams battle. So before we continue, like what players I'm looking forward to or I'm watching the most tonight, and then, of course, give a prediction for tonight's game. Do want to let you guys know that today's episode is also brought to you guys by SimpliSafe. And I need to have my little guy right up here. So SimpliSafe right now has got you covered, especially with the holidays approaching. You've probably been thinking about home security, but you've been putting it off. I know I have. We bought our house a couple years ago. Got to do home security. And I keep putting it off. But right now, Locked On Sharks listeners can order the #1 rated SimpliSafe home security system for 50% off. This is the biggest offer of the year, and you won't want to miss it. So with them, they're rated the best home security system of 2022 by U.S. News and World Report. It's a third year in a row. Like, you don't win something 3 times in a row just because by accident. You have to be good at what you do. They have whole home security with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door, HD security cameras for inside and out, smarter ways to detect motion that alert you when there's a live threat is actually real, and even hazard sensors to detect fires, floods, and any other threats to your home. And they have an awesome app where you can actually have complete control of your system anytime, anywhere, arm, disarm, unlock. So if you have someone coming over, you can unlock your door that way, and that way they can come in. You can look at the cameras. So if you want to check out, you're out at a holiday party, you want to make sure everything's good with your house, boom, check it, you're good there. Or you can adjust the system settings right from the app. So don't miss out a chance to save big on early security system. I recommend get 50% off any SimpliSafe system at simplisafe.com/lockedonnhl. This is the biggest discount of the year, so do not wait. At simplisafe.com/lockedonnhl. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Okay, so big things that I'm looking for tonight. Can Hurdle and Timo go toe-to-toe with Eichel and Stone. These Hurdle and Timo have been awesome the last couple games. I know they didn't score against the Wild, but these guys have been, them and Erik Karlsson have been the driving force of the Sharks, right? Can these guys go toe-to-toe with what has been one of the best lines in the NHL this season with Eichel and Stone and Chandler Stevenson? That is, if you can match them, they score a goal, you have to score a goal. You have to match this line, right? So how are these guys going to respond? I know this is the last game of a road trip. You've had, you've had a bunch of games in a row, right? You've had Thursday game, Friday game, Sunday game. So this is your fourth game in 6 days. You're going to be tired. You can see the end as you're getting ready to head home here. So how can the Sharks match that top line, especially what's going to be a pretty well rested Vegas team as they last played on Saturday? So yes, Hurdle, Timo, if Hurdle and Timo, if you get 2 goals out of those guys, you're going to have a really good chance to win this game. So big boom. Next, Logan Thompson, who has been out real this season for Vegas. So 8-2 record, 231 goals against, 925 save percentage with 2 shutouts. If he's starting, you're going to have to make him have a bad game because he has been lights out this year. And Aiden Hill has been pretty good as well. So 5-1 record, 232 goals against average, and 920 save percentage. So again, Vegas likes to do a good job. They tried to make life easy on their goalies by trying to, while they're giving up a lot of shot attempts, the actual shots on goal is low. So they're making sure that they're blocked, deflected, or just not getting on goals. So you have to take advantage and really make these guys work, because it's going to be, I would actually, as weird as it says, you need to have quality over quantity when it comes to shots here, because again, Logan Thompson, he has been lights out this year. So you need to make him work, and not just, hey, like, stop, like, make him actually have to work for these saves. So it doesn't mean run into him or anything like that, but like, you have to have high quality shots. So quality over quantity when it comes to shots. Just don't fire a bunch of point shots, because that's what Vegas wants you to do, right? They want you to fire a bunch of point shots that don't actually get to the net. They're going to win the battle, and then they're going to be off to the races the other way. So quality over quantity. So again, number 1, Timo and Hurdle, they need to match whatever the Eichel Stone line does. So they need to win that battle. 2, quality over quantity when it comes to shot selection. Make Logan Thompson have to really, really work for his saves, right? If you get 35 shots, but on goal, but 20 of them are low danger shots, it doesn't matter. Like, you need to have high quality shots. And then you have to win the special teams. Vegas's PK, not that great. Sharks power play starting to come along. Sharks PK, really, really good. Vegas's power play, much better than what we've seen in previous years. I can't spot the difference of why that power play is much better, but who knows? Smarter man than me can probably spot it. But you have to win the special teams battle. If you're going to win this game, you have to win the special teams battle. So if you can get a power play goal, shut down Vegas's power play. You get 2 goals from Timo and Hurdle. I don't care who. That is your recipe for success. And then if you can squeak out another goal from the Couture line or Nico Sturm or one of these other guys, that's your recipe for success. So all that being said, Sharks going for their 3rd win in a row. I can't believe this is their first winning streak of the season. If you count 2 games as a winning streak, I guess you do technically. But I think the Sharks end up losing, though. They're playing a lot better recently. They're, you You can see the 5-on-5 numbers starting to get better. Those numbers at the beginning of the season were poo-poo, blood red, like they were gross, right? They're starting to improve, and the power play is looking much better. David Quinn's power play, I love how everybody just kind of it's a very freelance power play that puts guys in different positions. I mean, we see Eric Carlson playing the bumper at times. Like, I love all that. I just think right now, Eichel especially is just on another level right now. And the goaltending that Vegas is getting, I don't know if the Sharks are going to be able to solve it. So I've got a 5-2 Vegas win. Put me down for a Timo goal. We'll say Timo on the power play. And then put me down for, we'll say Carlson. Eric Carlson scores because, yes, his best friend, Alfie, he's in the Hall of Fame, and Carlson's going to kind of honor him there with a nice goal as well. So I got Vegas winning 5-2, unfortunately, but I think the Sharks, though, we see them kind of continue to build the momentum that they've been playing with the last couple games. So that's going to be it for me. I'll be back tomorrow with a recap of this game. And then we've got Detroit on Thursday, and I think then we got the Rangers on Saturday. So big game, a lot of big games coming up. So make sure you guys are following along, especially on the old social medias. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, over at Locked On Sharks. See clips of all the goals and all the fun stuff. And so make sure you guys are following along there. And that way you also know whenever a new episode is out. Listen wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, all those places, Amazon Music, got you covered there. Watch this on YouTube as well. You can see I got a haircut, much needed haircut. And then follow me on Twitter at myfryhole. Be back tomorrow for a Vegas recap. And until then, bye, friends.